Hello there. I am Helen Sadler, your Destiny Helper. Thank you for joining me once again. I want to appreciate all of you for emailing me the various topics that you have questions about. It is an honor and a privilege to answer those topics and to answer those questions. Thank you so much for your comments in the comment sessions and for subscribing to my YouTube channel. Those of you that have not subscribed, take time to subscribe to this channel. And I'm so elated that it is helping you because many of you are really enduring some tremendous things. And also, I wanted to answer a question for you tonight. Some of you are saying, I'm putting up with things that I want to come out of, but I find myself bonded or staying in the relationship when in my mind I know I should come out. What is wrong with me? The term that I want to use tonight is called trauma bonding. I have other videos that could assist you in this area, but I want to elaborate on trauma bonding. The trauma that bonds you to the relationship is the reason why you're committed to the relationship. There is a process that goes on in the trauma bonding when you are being devalued, and these devaluations are consecutive. He devalue you, she devalue you, and then she pulls back and praise you and love bombs you. And then after the love bombing, if you notice, after the love bombing, the devaluation become more intense because it's necessary after the love bombing to intensify the trauma, because the trauma is actuating your level of endurance, and is really removing the lines of tolerance so you can be able to tolerate a more abuse, capacitate more abuse. And just when you get frustrated, just when you say I'm done, the narcissist can sense when you have got so frustrated that you're getting ready to move out. The love bombing comes right back in. Love bombing just don't happen at the beginning of the relationship. A lot of times you hear people talking about love bombing at the beginning of the relationship, but it actually happened all through the relationship. It is the glue that the narcissists use to keep things hanging on so they can trauma bond you in that relationship. And it's not relationship, because relationship is a mutuality. It means we can relate. That's the root word of relationship. It's actually a transaction ship. This is when everything is based on the means that you have and the provision you can give, because some narcissists may be there for the status you have, the money you have, or a situationship. This is what you will call a relationship, because you're married to the narcissist, you live with the narcissist, you've been with the narcissist, and the narcissist has showed some caliber of concern. And the concern is cognizant, because everything they give to you is what they learned to do for you. And so the trauma bonding can come in stages. And if they intensify the trauma bonding, when you come into the relationship, the trauma bonding is not intense, because in the embryonic stage of the relationship, it is too young for the narcissist to act all fool. They can't act all out. He can't show his just naked behind, her naked behind. And they cannot be belligerent or show how intense their malignancy is. So they would drop little crumbs of abuse, little crumbs of devaluation, little crumbs of torture and torment. And then what they would do, they would drop the torment, interconnect the glue, which would be the love bombing. They will praise you for something you're doing. They will increase the intensity of that praise, because they themselves know what it does, because they need a lot of it. So if they know they need a lot of it, and when you give them the extreme praise and it make them feel good, it add to their superiority, it add to their grandiosity, you have showed them what it does. So next thing you know, they give back to what they have learned from you to keep the glue in the relationship. So the trauma bonding may be at the minute stage. They're not going to just throw on the highs. So they're not going to use the super glue. They're going to use the basic paste glue, enough to keep you in there. But what they're going to use in keeping you in there is a lot of praise, a lot of love bombing in the beginning, a lot of idealization, a lot of telling you your accomplishments, telling you how much they need you, telling you what you mean to them, telling you they never had this before. Their heart is aching. They are really afraid. They are afraid because this love that they have for you, they don't ever want to lose you. You have been their everything. They want to know everything about you. I mean, you're already married. You've been with them for 3 months. And usually when you marry, it doesn't take a long time to intersect that connection. And so you've been married. You've probably been with them for 6 months. Boom, you're married. Because what the narcissist does is obligate you in the capacity where it's not easy to leave. They will either do serious items, a purchase like a house, a serious investment, a jewelry, or a car, or some kind of investment, stocks and bonds, any kind of investment that will keep you there where you won't be able to leave without a lot of legalities. And so these formalities begin to add to your relationship, construct your relationship. And so then as you are there 6 months in, a year in, you notice that the traumatizing gets more tremendous. They take more risks. They leave. They stay out. They stay away from your body. They don't have sex as much. And when they do, it's getting wilder. It's getting crazy, because what the narcissists need to do now is they need to remove the guidelines that you set in place, the boundaries that you set in place. Because now if they can remove these boundaries, they can drop more trauma, and they can add now maybe the super glue. They can take that trauma bonding and make it more intensive. They need to capacitate more depth in that trauma bonding, because the longer you stay in, the more they need to capacitate the trauma bonding, because you are seeing them more. You are disliking them more. You are being irritated more, but you are being love bombed more. And so the love bomb is consecutive. They make promises. And what they do is when they feel your frustration, the narcissists know when you say, man, forget this. I don't care how much I love you. I can't do this no more. And when you do that, the narcissists throw all in. They raise the love bombing. They raise the idealization. They raise your praise. They raise what they do. They come home every day. They're helping you with the house. They're taking care of the bills. They're turning their phone over so you can see their phone. They're putting their phone where you can see it, but you don't know they got 2 other phones. So they transfer all of the information to the other 2 phones and take their everyday stuff that don't mean anything to them and put it there while you are looking at the phone. They even give you the phone. They give you the phone because you don't have access to the real communication system, which is the 2 other phones that they're hiding away. And so now as you are staying in the relationship, and if you look up, you notice that time has elapsed. You with the narcissist, you met them, it's 3 months, 6 months. Now it's a year and a half, 2 years. By the time you 2 years in, they are using Gorilla Glue. And this Gorilla Glue is the trauma bond. That's the level of capacity. It's like jumping into an ocean. It's going to go deep. And this trauma is going to go deep. This trauma is going to be more severe because they need the gorilla glue. They need you to capacitate the level of this trauma bonded. They need this trauma bonded to be so severe until they can do crazy stuff, and you will excuse it. You will deflect it. You will have cognizant dissonance, and you will release it. You will excuse them because now you're trying to rehabilitate them. The more they trauma bond you, the more you work to rehabilitate them. They can see your efforts. They can see you trying to win them over. They can see the level of degree you're willing to go through to win them over. And then they need to remove those boundaries. They need to put the pressure on you. And what happened is that inside of you of unworthiness, the devaluation that you feel toward yourself, the narcissists have picked up on it, and they are alluding and having a caveat of that throughout the relationship. They are spreading that throughout the relationship. Why? Because they found something inside of you, because you have been through abuse, whether it was through family or whether through other relationship, narcissistic relationship, and you find yourself keep being attracted, keep being a beacon to this narcissist. And what is happening is you never broke the magnet. You never broke the reflection. You never broke the frequency. You never broke the electrons that keep the frequency going, that attract you to this malignancy. Is continuing. And so now that you have formated on the inside of you, I don't deserve anyone to love me. You keep attracting the narcissist that's going to abuse you. So the trauma bond does not just happen. And the trauma bond is not the same measure. It increases, it enlarges, it goes indefinite widths, which it expands. It goes indefinite heights, and it goes indefinite depths. When the trauma bond go deep, you have been in a relationship a long time. You have a historical file of abuse. And this trauma bond has become a voice. They say you're crazy for leaving. You don't put all of this time in. Somebody else is getting ready to get what you got. If you spend a little more time, everything is going to work out. Just spend a little more time investing. Don't leave your house. Why should somebody else get your house, even though you're about to lose your mind? You said, this is freaking crazy. All right. Here come the love bomb. Oh, yeah. He rubs you and tell you, baby, therapy is for me. I'm going to therapy. I'm going to therapy for my baby because I love you like that. You know what I realized? I realized I need therapy, baby, and I'm going to get some therapy. And then he do good for about a month. She do good for about 2 weeks, and it starts slipping. When it starts slipping, the narcissist knows it's slipping. And so when it starts slipping, the narcissists know that the pattern of what has caused you to be frustrated is getting ready to continue. So what they do, they traumatize in the situation, then they bond you in the situation. The bond is everything that would keep you tied into him. Even if it is a disbelief that you can get anybody, even if it's a disbelief that he don't need to change, you need to change. That you are believing it's you, and it's a disbelief that he needs to change. He done convinced you that it's your fault, and then now you have to fault blame. You are self-blaming. This is trauma, because now he has you beating up on yourself. You're beating yourself up, and while you're beating yourself up, the narcissist is spreading the boundaries. He's opening up the gap until your relationship is like an ocean. Everything he drops in it goes down to the deep. If you drop a penny in the ocean, do you know, or a weight in the ocean, do you know how deep that has to travel before it hits the bottom? Now your bottomlet, your bottom of having frustration, of saying I am finished, it is real distant, because now you are in an ocean in your relationship. So the trauma bonded from here has here to there before it reaches the level of your completion, before it reaches the level of you saying, doggone it, I'm tired of this. I'm done. I've reached my limit. I have talked to everybody I'm going to talk to. I'm starting to isolate myself. I'm getting frustrated. I'm actually believing the devaluation. And I'm done. The love bombing come. You are get ready to get stroked. He's going to stroke your emotion, stroke your ego, stroke your false hope, because hope is the last thing to go. And you start hoping again. Once you start hoping again, it demolished everything that was going to get you frustrated. And you're back in the cycle. You're back at the beginning of the race. And you find yourself going over in this again. And the bonding is heavy because you are now talking to you, convincing you, I got too many years in here. I got all of my kids with him. I got a house with him. I got a car with him. I got too much investment in him. Exactly. And he's going to keep it that way. But you will never better the relationship because the trauma bonding prevents you from getting out. It's like being in a cage with the key in your hand, but you won't put the key into the socket to open the door. You won't put it in the keyhole. And you're behind looking at outside, wishing you were there with the key in your hand. That's trauma bonding. Trauma bonding gives you the ability to get out, but your will won't let you because you're a slave. You feel like you're captive. You feel like you can't. You feel like you love them so much. I don't want to lose it. And somebody else get it? Somebody else get those years I put in? No way. But the torment don't stop. Trauma bond. Separate the words. Look up each word and put your name between the trauma and the bond. That's what's happening to you. Every part of your body is being affected. And remember, the trauma bond comes in dimensions. It comes in realms. That means it's measured in different places. It is produced at different levels. It doesn't happen all at once. The more you stay with the narcissist, the more he needs to intensify the trauma bond until the elephant, they put a chain on the elephant and they would do things to make the elephant run, and the elephant kept pulling on the chain and the chain kept limiting the elephant until one day they took the chain out and they hit the elephant. The length of the chain will be the only place he go, because the measure of the chain to his feet has now become the measure of the distance in their mind. That's what trauma bond does. It ties the situationship to your feet of life, and circumstances run you to the distance, to the end of that chain. And when you find that you can't go no more, you start looking around at all of the insignias, all of the landmarks of life. Like I can't leave. Like nobody else gonna want me. Like I can't do any better. Why should someone get what I invest in? I love her. I love him. I know nobody else believe it'll work, but I'll believe if I hang in here, I can. All of those are landmarks. So you run to the landmark and you don't go any further. Until one day, the narcissist take the chains off and you go to that distance of where he has registered you through the devaluation, through the lying, through the trauma name bond. Trauma bonding, it has different measures. It positions you in different places. Every measure don't have the same effect. And every measure don't take you to the same place. The narcissist releases the measure of the trauma bond to the place of his or her intent. And the place of his or her intent may be the devaluation to help reverse your frustration. And when they reverse their frustration, the chain has went the distance. And now you go sit yourself down. They no longer have to fear you leaving. But there is a surprise. Because no matter how the narcissist measures the distance, the final say is yours. And there is a place you can come where the trauma bonding release is adhesive. And there's trauma. You have to work through that. But the bond has been broken. When the bond breaks, the key goes in the hole and the gates fly open. And when the gates fly open, you are free indeed. It takes time to get over the trauma. But to break the bond is an immediate decision. I am Helen Sadler, your destiny helper. I hope I've answered those questions. And remember, why you stay is because the trauma bond is there. And the trauma bond registers your decision to make sure you stay within the measure that the narcissist has allotted, even with the chains off. I want you to write me and tell me how this program has blessed you. I want you to like and share it with others. Oh, this is tremendous. You are not crazy. You are not weak. You will come to the fruition where you will break the bond. Write me at destinyhelper12s@gmail.com. destinyhelper12s@gmail.com. Let me know how this video has blessed you, how it has strengthened you and encouraged you and added a little more information to why you're there or what is the meaning of trauma bond. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I will see you on the next video.